and SmackDown in the same place at the same time. Bobby Lashley is not getting anywhere close to a WWE title shot. Not because he's not been established, because he's black. And I'm going to cut it right there because that was stupid. Welcome to the Raw review. Sorry, folks, I'm a bit upset because a good player went to the 76ers. Tobias Harris, and I think I just lost all emotion that the NBA can actually. I can watch certain teams that could be, have a fun game and shit like that. But that's the least of my issues. First off, we started with Becky Lynch, who I understand she got a shot for the women's title for Raw, but that doesn't mean she always has to consistently show up on Raw every time so they can build tension to a feud. That's not how it works. So there was Stephanie McMahon asking and showing concern for why isn't there no medical attention on Becky Lynch over her injury she had at the Royal Rumble. And then Becky Lynch started to attack and cost herself a suspension and then beat the shit and broke Stephanie McMahon's arm. The segment was but Becky Lynch, she could barely rebuttal whenever somebody got her speechless. Every time somebody gets her speechless for a reasonable reason, and then backstage, after she was escorted out the ring, Ronda Rousey just kept spitting her real shit. Acting like a whiny ass bitch so she can just be 100% so she can beat her. And Ronda Rousey's so real with her words. And it's so relatable. And actually showing that she cares about the company. Other than most women being with a valet or at least having some crappy reasons why they turned heel. Ronda Rousey is actually realistic. And I actually like her. Yeah, but it could have been cool if she was just not women's champion. But I like her currently, and I think she's the best fitting champion currently in the women's division I've seen in years so far. So I think those were good segments, but those could have been just backstage. Could have slapped Stephanie in her office and cost yourself a suspension. That's it. That's about it. Don't have to do much. Ronda Rousey still had an open challenge, so she went into the ring to face off against Liv Morgan. And she beat her in a match. It was just a squash match to show how dominant she can be before WrestleMania, or at least the next pay-per-view. Thanks, we don't know who is issued a number one contender shot for the women's title come Elimination Chamber, because I think most of the attention is based around the new women's tag titles. So yes, she also forced Sarah Logan to compete, and then she lost in submission. But that was it, really. Next was supposed to be Ruby Riott, but she just ran off with the rest of the Riott squad to just leave. I don't know if we're just trying to build up tension for Ronda Rousey. Thanks to shows every time she faces even Bayley, that was a women's champion. She shows that she's more dominant than every other previous women's champion, and I think that's cool as hell. But I think there should be more build up. I'm sick of these open challenges. It makes the belt feel nothing. As much as people want to suck the dick of John Cena winning, making an open challenge for the United States Championship, it builds him down as a mid-carder. And it didn't establish the belt as a must-win situation. Thanks. He's never in a vulnerable position. There was no any change in John Cena in a circumstantial point that made the championship. Oh my God! Even somebody else had the opportunity to win the belt. It was never like that. It was either John Cena just ready to compete 100% all the time. It just made the championship match too repetitive. And I think that's also Ronda Rousey. He never comes with an arm injury. She never comes with anything else in her mind. It's just her ready to compete every fucking day with getting a bit pissed off at somebody else. And it just doesn't establish her as that much of a fighting champion. I'm not always with the Superman moment of things, but I'd rather watch a woman actually try to come back whilst having a bit of struggles than just be there 100% for every other match. Because every other women's match, nobody else sells. They do crappy matches, and they can't be that impressive physically in the ring. There was supposed to be a Night of Bliss, and then we had a number one contender shot for the tag team titles involving Heavy Machinery, the B Team, Lucha House Party, and the Revival. Luckily, I think the Revival won, so they have an opportunity on the tag titles. This is an alright match. Heavy Machinery is fun to watch. Yeah, we don't know a lot about Otis and Tucker, so yeah, they've made it short. I think it's good because Otis' last name is difficult to pronounce, and I don't think anybody wants to say Tucker Knight for the rest of their lives. So that was fun. It was alright, except we see the cliche finishes, and Lucha House Party shouldn't have been a tag team or a faction to begin with. I can't even call them a faction. Thinks these guys barely have enough promo time, that much of a charisma with the fans. These niggas are luchadors who can barely speak English and hand pinatas everywhere. What is WWE hiding? I'm triggered. I'm triggered as hell. Right now, this was an alright tag match. Revival will be facing off against the tag team champions that are Bobby Roode and Chad Gable that they've been wrestling against for the past 2-3 months. The match was fine in this case. Next up was Kurt Angle's speech being interrupted. Baron Corbin thinking that he would retire came over. Why are they feuding? Kurt Angle lost to so many embarrassing opponents that it's hard to number. Thinks he's been WWE for nearly a decade back in the day. And now he comes in being like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I lost to a guy a couple inches taller than me. And I lost to a cancer patient. So that's cool. So later on tonight, he was tagging up with Braun Strowman to face off against Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin in the tag match. That was the main event. That was literally it. Next up was Sasha Banks and Bayley against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross for qualifiers for the Elimination Chamber for the tag titles. Came up alright, and I thought it was good chemistry thanks both Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross are crazy bitches, so it makes sense that they started assaulting them off the bat. Then we got our basic tag team match with the Boss and Hug connection. Oh, that name sounds really unique. Why are they friends again? Stop calling yourself the Boss, Alex. Sasha. She's not that interesting. None of these women are. This if it was up to me, I would just let Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox win because I think they deserve better. But Alicia Fox deserves better. Seems like she has more unique gimmicks. It just feels like she's more interesting to watch than Bayley and Sasha Banks for majority of 2018 and now 2019, and I'd rather give Alicia Fox screen time than Sasha Banks and Bayley that barely have a lot of charisma. But the show must go on. It was obviously they were gonna lose. Hitting her up the steel post, the DDT, Bayley going for her regular slams and just beating Nikki Cross. That's been a WWE for the last three weeks, and she only won like one tag match. I think one person against in the Riot Squad because they're trying to build her up as this crazy bitch. And a way of doing that, not letting her get pinned. Next up was Jeff Jarrett versus Elias. And I know they're trying to give Elias a program for WrestleMania, obviously, against a legend out of Jeff Jarrett. That was only notable in his career, and the best thing in his career when he was feuding against China for the Intercontinental Championship. And he totally accomplished more outside of WWE by, winning the World Heavyweight Championship a bunch of times back at WCW. He was NWA Championship, one of the best champions back there on Impact. Actually, some positives. I think Jeff Jarrett also owned the company back then. And now he comes here just to feud with Elias. Road Dogg was also there. We were in Portland, so obviously he would wear a Oregon jersey. I mean, a Trailblazers jersey involving Damian Lillard. This was an alright match. It's good to see Jeff Jarrett wearing the tights that he looks actually alright in. Have me some drop kicks showing that Jeff Jarrett can still have a reasonable match. But after, I don't know why they're trying to make them feud when Jeff Jarrett was just supposed to be a surprise entry into the Royal Rumble. Elias won off using his move, and this was okay. This was an alright. This was an alright match. They should have just had a backstage segment with them like doing a sing off or something. Make it a bit more entertaining. But having them have a match is whatever they're gonna do, they might do next week on Raw. Next was involving Bobby Lashley, Leo Rush. Finn Balor was still competing in that after getting assaulted by Bobby Lashley after the Royal Rumble. And now he faced off against Leo Rush, and I thought it was equally matched. I thought it was pretty alright, high flying moves. Obviously, it took the coup de grace to beat. Oh my god, it took a missile dropkick and a coup de grace to obviously beat Leo Rush. It was an alright match. Leo Rush, he's incredibly talented. If you haven't seen him in the indie scene, I did. Because I did watch him Ring of Honor, and I watched the one match he had, and that was against Ricochet back at Battle of LA back in, I think that was 2016. And it was a pretty fun match. The guy is incredibly fast paced. He's like a mini Ricochet if he had hair and black. It's literally it. It was alright. I don't know if they're gonna let Leo Rush compete a bit more on the main roster. Thinks he's in the WWE. He's more notable for 205 Live. Yeah, I'm shocked they don't have a tag team championship. The fuck are they doing out there? But they give women, because there's more women equality than giving people that actually deserve it. But I understand they're trying to make a promo with Lashley and Finn Balor, so whatever they're gonna do, they'll do it. Next was a moment of bliss involving Alexa Bliss interviewing the NXT pickup out of EC3. I heard Lars Sullivan won't be in the main roster. And all this did was Nia Jax somehow complaining that she wasn't interviewed because she was the 30th in the Royal Rumble and wasn't even in the top 5. And she got eliminated off Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. And they said after, treating Dean Ambrose like a bitch, they thought they were sexual tensions. While Alexa was trying to get in somebody else's pants, if you know what I mean. Oh my god. This was an awkward segment to just transition the match with Dean Ambrose and EC3 off. Dean Ambrose barely doing anything after getting slapped in the face. And you get treated like a bitch by Nia Jax, and now you get rolled up, pinned by EC3. Dean Ambrose is just going to leave. I think that's just the best option. He seems to be alright. He looks great now. I think if we let him off for a few years and he comes back, it will be perfectly fine. He already has a bit of a WWE resume, so when he goes off, I think anybody can take him. I think Ring of Honor can take him. If he goes back to, what the fuck is that gory ass show again? It's like worse than ECW. Comment below if you know. And Gorilla Pro Wrestling Gorilla. I think they'll pick him up. Even if he goes to Impact, I think he'll do well. He seems to have a certain likability. Even though in the WWE I never liked him, I find him too struggling to get relatable with the fans. But if they're trying to build a program with Nia Jax and him, please don't. Nia Jax can barely talk. She can't already wrestle, and she didn't even compete tonight. I don't know what Tamina's just there like a third wheel, and this was just an awkward segment to just show EC3 what he can do in the ring, and I thought he's alright. I already heard the doubts of EC3 actually becoming a mainstay in the main roster for long. That I also have my own doubts about, but we'll see what goes on and see what feuds he carries on or how he does in the mic or how he competes, if that's going to play a factor into his main roster push. Next up, we're going to go to the tag team match. That was the main event involving Braun Strowman and Kurt Angle versus Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. I thought this was an alright match. It was fun. Angle slam off Drew McIntyre, a few big moves. Kurt Angle's obviously absorbing all the punishment. This was a fun match. Braun Strowman just beating the crap out of everyone. Just a fun tag team match. Except it could have been Seth Rollins in the tag team match with Braun Strowman facing off against McIntyre and McIntyre and Baron Corbin, but they won off disqualification, off Braun Strowman acting ape shit crazy, and McIntyre just beating the crap out of Kurt Angle and Strowman, and that ends the show. Oh boy, it's obviously better than SmackDown, but I think these reviews that I'm doing, because usually after Raw I do Raw on Tuesdays. I do SmackDown on Wednesdays. It's like, I think I'll just upload these Wednesday. Obviously, I think it's better for me, better in a rotation sense, and I can get into more stuff because I want to get into more basketball. Because I've been doing majority of wrestling reviews for for January instead of focusing on a lot of the Super Bowl analysis. I did do it, but post game I'd rather not review. I'll do some basketball. I'll see what I can do. But, thanks the NFL season's over, there's not a lot to talk about. But there's a basketball still, and that's the most talked about sport. I'll see what I'll get myself into. Thanks for watching. I'll give Raw 5 out of 10. I found the matches to be alright. The feuds to be pretty tame. I thought they could have done better in storyline sense on how they could have done more backstage promos. Just, it could have been way more. Just Raw and SmackDown, they just need more into their stuff than just continuing off just wrestling matches to tell what a story should be. Thanks for watching.